DNA and me showed I was 8% Navajo. Nobody's making fun of me now, or my people, who were victims.
I'm 13% victim.
I'm 21% victim.
DNA and me.
South Park has been on the air for a quarter of a century. 25 years running is a huge accomplishment, but what's even more impressive is how for all these years and all these seasons, South Park is still really funny, really entertaining, and really thought-provoking. In my opinion at least, South Park never feels like a shell of its former self. When I want to watch The Simpsons, I'll typically go back to the first 7 seasons or so. But when I want to watch South Park, I'm confident I can go to any season from any era, and it'll be pretty good, whether it's from 1999, 2008, or 2021. South Park is known for its profane and edgy humor, especially in earlier episodes where it leaned a little more towards slapstick comedy and shock value. But South Park now also has a long-standing reputation of giving some of the best social commentary in the history of television comedy. When something happens in the world, I always find myself excited to see how South Park will tackle the issue. Because for better or worse, South Park never pulls any punches and offers a balanced, rational viewpoint on things, but in a way that is simultaneously ridiculous and hilarious. But I had a lot of fun writing my video analysis on how King of the Hill addressed racism using satire.
Your people even celebrate Thanksgiving?
We did. Once.
And I wanted to make a video on the same topic for a couple of other cartoons that I think did/do a great job. Addressing serious issues in a comedy is tricky. Quinta Brunson, creator of Abbott Elementary, was on HBO's The Shop and discussed how when making a comedy, the most important job is to be funny, and how tackling real issues should always come second to being funny.
Serious issues.
First of all, I think my job is to do comedy first. That's how I approach it, right? The job was to make a comedy. So to me, it means that the comedy has to come first.
And she's right. Your comedy can be the most intelligent, thought-provoking social commentary of all time, but if it fails to make people laugh, then it failed at being a comedy. And it's clear this is the same comedy philosophy followed by South Park creators Matt Stone and Trey Parker, because no matter what issue is being tackled, it's very clear that the biggest priority of the episodes is to make the audience laugh. And speaking for myself, the show rarely fails to make me laugh. And one of the funniest episodes of the series is simultaneously one of the most infamous episodes of South Park that addresses racism. Apologies to Jesse Jackson. It was the 11th season premiere, and the episode is still widely considered to be one of the most thought-provoking and controversial episodes of the show. In the episode, Randy is a contestant on Wheel of Fortune. His puzzle is in the category of people who annoy you, and it comes down to one letter left in the word he needs to solve, with the letters being N blank GGERS. And he immediately thinks the word is, you know. He's hesitant to say it, but being rushed by the time, he blurts out the answer. The N-word on national television, and naturally the entire world watching is in shock and people are pissed. And he got the answer wrong. It was actually naggers. The scene is great to me because 1, everyone on Earth, no matter the race, would have the exact same answer in their minds, at least for a few seconds. But 2, almost nobody except for Randy Marsh would be dumb enough to actually blurt that answer out on national television. Classic Randy. Randy tries to apologize to the black community by apologizing to Jesse Jackson, who makes Randy literally kiss his behind as an apology. Stan thinks this will make everything cool with Token, who was mad about the incident.
My dad apologized to Jesse Jackson. You just don't get it, Stan. Dude, Jesse Jackson said it's okay.
Jesse Jackson is not the emperor of black people.
Told my dad he was.
So Randy gets called out by a comedian at a comedy club, calling him N-word guy, and after this, everyone begins calling Randy N-word guy. For the record, they didn't actually say N-word, they actually said, you know. But Randy is being constantly ostracized and called N-guy by the entire city, and it turns him into an outcast. Randy later tries to clear his name and make people stop calling him N-guy by opening up the Randy Marsh African American Scholarship Foundation.
You really don't know how hard it is to be constantly reminded of something lame that happened in your past. I mean, they're bringing up a painful chapter of my history and all the negativity that went along with it. You can't imagine how that feels.
But after the grand opening, he's chased by socially progressive rednecks. Carrying shotguns who are mad at him because they hate racism and, quote, don't take kindly to social ignorance.
We want to live in a world without people like you who are intolerant of African Americans.
He is saved abruptly by other N-word guys led by Michael Richards from Seinfeld. If you don't know, Michael Richards went super viral in 2007 for going on a rant screaming the N-word multiple times on stage.
You interrupted me, pal. That's what happens when you interrupt the right man.
Hang in there, Kramer.
Also, fun fact, all this controversy about the N-word after that Michael Richards incident is what inspired Matt and Trey to write this episode. The N-word guys go to Congress and get the Senate to pass a law banning the phrase N-word guy, and now the word guy has to be at least 7 words after the N-word. Stan tells Token that he will never truly understand what it's like to have the N-word used against him, which is what Token wanted to hear all along, so they become friends again. The Stan and Token subplot was great, because although Stan keeps apologizing, he keeps dismissing it as no big deal. Yes, it was a mistake, but Randy still uttered a word that has been used to demean black people for centuries. And Token is frustrated because he doesn't care as much for an apology as much as he wants Stan to truly see the issue at hand. And he's right. Stan has great intentions, but doesn't understand why a word like that can hurt Token, mistake or intentional. I would argue that in any situation, whether racism or something else, it can be frustrating for someone who has no idea what the issue is like to pretend to understand. Like, if I broke my leg and someone who's never broken their leg tells me they know what I'm going through, it's not only simply inaccurate, it's dismissive. So Token's frustration was very warranted and is a very real thing, and I love that South Park acknowledged this. Furthermore, the satire in this episode was genius. It was a direct commentary on people's inability to care about something until it affects them. Randy feels hurt that people are calling him N-word guy because it brings up pain of something from a long time ago. Sound familiar? So he complains enough and eventually that phrase is banned. Not the N-word itself, the phrase N-word guy.
That's the joke.
The judge even says something along the lines of 2 words which by themselves are harmless and doesn't see the irony. The episode makes fun of the fact that the N-word has been affecting people for centuries. But when a similar phrase has the power to hurt the feelings of the people who are in power for a little bit, something is immediately done.
This store, nigger guy.
While some might find any use of the N-word inflammatory, some members of the black community praise the episode's portrayal of discrimination.
It's not really the word that's important. Look at what's going on inside, you know? That's what I got.
Kavon and Jill Flowers, who co-founded the organization Abolish the N-word, tell CNN that in this case, using it was appropriate. Quote, "This show, in its own comedic way, is helping to educate people about the power of this word and how it feels to have hate language directed at you."
Turning a white guy who said the N-word into a metaphor for black people who get called the N-word is some of the most genius writing I've ever seen. The episode was a bold and risky move on South Park's part, and may even be uncomfortable for some viewers to watch due to the word being constantly said, but it's a line South Park was willing to cross to get the point across, and by now we should know there's very few lines, if any, South Park isn't willing to cross. There might not even be a line. But what do you think? Do you think South Park did a good job with this episode of showing how the N-word affects people? Do you even agree that that was the point of the episode? Sound off in the comments, and be sure to like this video and subscribe to Toon Fridge for more videos about things. Thanks for watching, guys.